Okay, so it's day 3, the third and final day of Aerospace Tech Week here in Hamburg. Energy levels are still high as we start day 3, and ABN has been invited onto the IFPL Group stand to speak to Dan Rust, who's the Director of Engineering. Dan, we caught up last year
at this
very show, in this very cabin.
Exactly.
Mock-up of
I
a
think
cabin.
they're the same seats.
Maybe.
Actual same seats.
And we talked about, we're going to talk about the things you're being exhibiting this week. We're going to start with in-seat power, and we can see examples of that around us. You were getting into that last year and have made some advances in the meantime. So talk about what you've been doing in the 12 months since we last spoke.
Yeah, sure. I'll try and pull it all back from where we were at last year. I think last year we were, as a company, kind of transitioning from, and IFPL has a huge, long history of making the outlets, so things like USB sockets, audio jacks, Bluetooth audio interfaces. But to supply entire systems of seat power is relatively new to them. So last year I think we were kind of breaking into that space and getting ready. It's been a crazy 12 months. So we've had launch customers, product qualifications and stuff is flying, certification work to do.
So you've got it in the air. It is working, it's there, okay.
It works and it's in the air, and we're getting really good response to it. And so that generally has been about bringing USB power to seats, and it could be business, but it's been a lot of economy seats that have just not had anything traditionally. And we're bringing that in, and we're bringing that in high power format as well. So we're being able to give 60 watts at every seat if you need it. But obviously with all of the back end stuff, the supply stuff that goes with it, the certification, so airlines can really come to us and say, I've got nothing today, I want to be able to fly away very soon, offering my passengers 60 watts of USB at every seat. What can you do? And it's a one-stop shop. We can service that, quick turn, certification, kit in a box, everything you need.
Done. And there's a lot of retrofitting onto older seats, older aircraft. Are the airlines are they retrofitting this as part of regular maintenance, or are they bringing the aircraft in specifically to add in-seat power? How are they approaching it?
Well, that's interesting. So I mean, when we've done a lot of lighting in the past as well, and people would often install that on something like an overnight shift. It was a quick thing to do. The seat power is really quick to do, but it's seen as a much bigger mod. So at the moment we've seen people tying it to some aircraft checks that are definitely happening. So the aircraft tends to be down for maybe 2 weeks, and they'll pack us in at the back a few days to just quickly mod it. I think as when we see some of our customers doing repeats, so some of them they've bought for a fleet of aircraft. I think as they start to do more and more of the fleet, they're going to realise that it's actually really quick.
So you could do it quicker than that. You wouldn't have to take the aircraft off service almost.
Absolutely. We've done a lot of work. It is designed through and through for retrofit. So it is like the lighting was, for quick installation. So we want people to make that realisation that actually this isn't a huge thing to do. We don't have to plan it in 2 years' time. If we put enough guides on this, we can do this on an overnight or a day stop, an A-check. So that's where we're moving towards.
And the actual in-seat power, we talked about this before we started, there's obviously advances. It seems like such a simple thing, but actually nothing ever is simple, is it really?
No.
But there's changes in USB and the power levels that we're talking about for more power-hungry devices that people are bringing on board. So how are you keeping track of that and making sure the customers are getting what they want? So
you're spot on. I was going to try the quote. I can never remember about to every complex problem there's an answer that's simple and wrong or something. But anyway, that's a misquote. But but that's exactly what happens here. You think this is simple. USB has been around for years. It's not like a computer. We'll just put one in. But the standard has evolved a lot, and obviously one of the big changes that happened not many years ago was the introduction of USB-C. And a lot of legislation for environmental reasons to try and make that the standard that everyone has to use, so we don't have 1,000,001 different chargers and leads. Means that's becoming much more prevalent. But the USB-A hasn't died yet, and it won't for years. So you're having to kind of future-proof that. So we've developed a cartridge system, so that has 2 benefits really. So one of them is today we may do you a USB unit which has a little cartridge which is your A and another cartridge which is your C. So you're catering for everybody. But as time moves on, you've got that option to remove the A and replace it with a C. So you've got dual C at every seat, if that makes sense. The side benefit to that is when people damage it, and they do, we have blue tack, chewing gum, I don't know what else, shoved in USB sockets. We don't write off an entire expensive unit. The cartridge comes out, it's peanuts, you put another one in. It brings a lot of benefits in that sense.
And from the customer side of things, as we were saying before we started, if you fly now, you kind of expect this, and if you don't have it on a seat, you've almost planned to. Yeah, I do it all the time. Phone's running out of charge. Like, that's all right. I've got 2 hours. I can charge it on the flight when I'm going there. And then you can, no charge, no port.
Quickly, have I got a quick battery saver mode? So
and of course, you need your phone charged because that's where your documents are sitting in these days. So there's a lot of anxiety around that for the customer, and the expectations are now there. This is ubiquitous.
It is, and I don't know if we coined it or somebody else did, but battery anxiety is something we hear a lot, a phrase, which is exactly that. You're worried about it. You see it draining down. I'm at 25%, 24%. Am I going to make it? And it is, as you say, it's essential. Your boarding pass is probably on it. You've probably got your hotel reservations, and if nothing else, you're bored. You want to be able to use your phone for.
Or even just be able to book the Uber when you get to the other end. You
need to
do that. And devices are changing as well. So phone is one thing, but people are bringing on gaming devices as well.
They are, so this has been for the slightly older ones in the company, I include myself now as well. Yeah. This was a recent revelation here. We've been focusing on phones, laptops, iPads, and their power, and some of their power needs are, to be fair, quite high. Mm-hmm. And then one of the younger members of the team, I think he's in marketing, said, have you heard of the gaming devices? Well, what do you mean, like a Game Boy or something? But no, these things. I know. It's extremely high resolution displays, massive power consumption. They require a 60-watt outlet, and of course, you think if you're a holiday charter company, you're taking families away. These devices aren't super expensive, so you can expect the kids. Yeah, they have them, and they want to entertain themselves for 2 or 3 hours, and so you do need these high power outlets. It's even more important than we thought it was when we just looked at the increase in phones and laptops.
Okay, so that's your in-seat power. You also you've got lighting on the what's going on your lighting side of things? I know.
Well, lighting is really close to my heart because that's where I started on the Cobalt side, and I started that out. It's steady incremental innovation, as it always has been. We've made a few massive jumps over the years, and then you just keep building on it. So we made a massive jump a few years ago, to introducing just across the board wireless control. Actually, that's something we've integrated into our power modules. We took that technology across from lighting to the power, so ultimately customers can have cabin management systems controlling their seat power wirelessly. But that's probably an entirely new podcast, maybe. I'm so sorry. On the lighting, it's just been smaller incremental developments on that, bringing in a few customer requirements. So these days, a lot of the little bits of innovation come from requests from customers. So they're very small, they're quite boring things, but they make a big difference to customers. But beyond that, it's been adding more and more airframes. So we started out focusing on the big boys, the Airbuses, the A320s, 330s. Yeah. Now, we've rolled that across Q400s, Embraers, you name it. We've probably got something for it.
Full coverage for most things flying out there today.
Yeah, and you start getting into the nitty gritty. It's also, we'll do the galley lighting, we'll do the entryway lighting, the little light in the toilet. All of these little bits and pieces now are just, we've had time and experience to build those in. So it's just been steady growth and really good response.
Talking lighting in another interview we did earlier in the week, and it's one of those things that if it's done badly, it's noticeable. If it's done well, you kind of just don't notice
it. That's it when you get it right. Yeah,
so you don't get much credit for doing it well in some ways.
No, you don't. But it does have a great effect. And it is. It's so. And actually it's interesting, somebody is probably another lighting company has told you that, but if you asked a lot of cabin experience people these days, they would be fairly good at talking to you about lighting, whereas 5 years ago perhaps we were having to do a lot of it. We were explaining these things to them about the impact the lighting has on their customers. Yeah. People's perception of how safe an aircraft is. You're walking up the steps, you would think people might be looking at the wings, check the engine. They're actually not. They're looking where they're going. They step in, they see a lovely cabin with maybe a purple. It's just a new aircraft. This is a safe, reputable airline. It's good. If they go in and there are tubes that are out, it's a bit off colour, they think it's a tatty aircraft and it's unsafe. There are all sorts of things that people remember about their flight. Never mind the kind of the subtleties that you were hinting towards there, whether they felt jet lagged at the end, whether the food looked nice, was I refreshed. You can pull some tricks as well when it comes to selling things. There are lights that you can use to kind of lift the mood a bit and make people feel a bit more
psychology. Really, every airline needs a psychologist working. Probably do have psychologists working for them.
And then you sort of put them to bed. You say, okay, we've had enough of you guys now. Well, let's bring in the soft lights. Let's ramp it down and take that energy away. So
and obviously the show is all about passenger experience. We're surrounded by companies that are trying to improve the passenger experience with technology, with the kind of things we're talking about. And the lighting is part of that. You know, if you're going to offer such a great experience, and the lighting and that kind of the atmosphere isn't right, it undermines everything else you're doing.
It does, yeah, and it's a good fit, you know. And I like that we're working in, you know, the lights and the seat power. They're really important things. You know, the lighting, as we just discussed, has this subtle effect on you that you might not realise. The seat power is really immediate. If I can't charge my phone, I'm actually quite annoyed.
Yeah.
So they're kind of two massive impacts these days on passengers, and we've got them both covered.
Just before we finish, just a few thoughts on, you know, how it's been. You've had a busy 2 days, I'm sure.
It's always busy, yeah.
What's the feeling in the industry do you take from being here this week?
I think it's buoyant again.
Yeah.
We've been knocked back a long time in you know, before COVID came along, and I know we don't like to say the word anymore because it's so long ago.
No.
You know, it was a very buoyant industry. There's a lot going on, and obviously that flattened things for a long time. And while COVID kind of passed for other industries after a year or two, there was a bit of uncertainty. Aerospace has very long time frames anyway, and so we've been waiting for the sort of mood to lift and it to become buoyant again. And I actually think it's feeling like that now. It's beginning to feel like it was last year. I probably felt maybe we were there, but I realise now we weren't. But I think we are now.
Looking in longer term time frames to improve things. I mean, there's still issues, obviously. They're almost baked in now. I think these issues aren't going to go away very soon, and maybe never will.
No, and the world
with
is
supply
adjusted.
chain, etc. But people are learning to live with it, I guess.
Yeah, and we've worked around it. So on the supply side, it's good. Passenger numbers have come back up. Airlines are now feeling that it's going to stay that way. We're not suddenly all going to be shut down again.
Yeah.
You know, so they're willing to invest and actually get back to those finer points of the passenger experience. Whereas you have to go back to those dark ages. It was really, they were asking themselves how we're going to survive the next 2 years, and the lighting wasn't that important to them.
And what's the future for you guys? I'm sure you're constantly looking to innovate, whether it's iterations or large leaps. Where do you think in a year's time we'll be sitting here chatting to you about what? I mean, what are you going to be doing next year, do you think, or in the next?
Hopefully we'll have thought of something great. There's going to be a lot of, as I said, incremental innovation on the power. We've actually had a few ideas while we were at the show just yesterday of just small things that would make a real difference. So you'll see a lot more of that, see a lot more rollout having happened. It's a really dull subject, but these tracks you see on the floor, the glow in the dark.
These are strip light,
That's
safety lights.
it. Yeah, we've not put a lot of focus on it recently because of seat power developments, but that is now, you know, flying. I think we're going to see some growth in that area as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be just another. I'll be able to tell you next year how that's gone. And,
okay. What's the innovation with that?
To tell you the truth, it's not a very innovative product. It's deliberately boring. So that there is a.
But it's practical. It's
low
safety,
cost. It's very, very good at doing what it does, and it's manufactured in a way that means we can make it low cost.
Right.
So there are a few companies out there, good companies, that make very good floor path marking. They make lovely colours. They have all sorts of bits of trim, and it's lovely. And if that's what you need to buy, I would recommend you go and buy it from them.
Yeah.
But if you're on a low budget and you just need something plain and simple like that meets the requirement, that's what we've got.
Does the job, yes.
Yeah, it's very Henry Ford. It's any colour as long as it's black.
And there's always, you sort of alluded to sustainability and lightweight. That's always an ongoing demand. Anything you can do to shave off a little bit,
Constantly
a few pounds here and there.
Yeah.
So same with the MC. Anything you do, you're always looking at that, are you?
Constantly looking at it. And actually, we were doing a survey for an install only a week or two back, and it just hit one of us while we were looking at the way we did something. We realised that the slight architectural change of the way we were wiring, which sounds silly, we suddenly realised we could shed another 10 kilos off of a kit. So, and it was a really simple thing to do. So little things like that all the time. You've just got your eye looking, say where could we white? Should we really be doing it like this?
Yeah. And in an industry that has that kind of focus, that vision collaboratively, you're all trying to do the same thing together. It has at the end, that's a big impact.
Yeah.
Even though it's a tiny
if every
thing.
supplier who supplies similar aircraft just tries to shave a few percent off, it's colossal.
Yeah.
And it's big for savings in money for the aircraft, for the airlines, but environmentally, it's great. You're burning less fuel, and we're trying to use more sustainable materials, things that at the end of life can be ground down and recycled instead of having to just be.
We've talked a lot about circular economy now. I mean, there's quite a few great examples here today about waste being used, going back into the system and creating a new product out of it.
Exactly, that's it. If you use the right plastics at the end of life, they can. They literally can be ground down and put back into things like the injection mould hoppers. It's melted. And it's just very much reused. And that's a good thing to do.
Okay, well look, our time is up, but it's been great to catch up. I know you actually literally got to fly.
I know, I'm on a flight very soon.
So good luck with that, and good luck with everything for the future, and no doubt see you next year.
Thank you very much, look forward to it.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Cheers.